Hello, beautiful people. As I'm recording this in January 2025, there's multiple fires all over Los Angeles, my home city. It's devastating. It's unfathomable for so many. The whole neighborhood have been wiped out. Air quality has been bad. People have lost their homes and they're coming back to what's left of their homes and spending time there uncovering and recovering items, breathing in the fumes and chemicals that were supposed to have stayed in whatever material they were contained in. Now they've escaped and they've spread and been metabolized by the fire. Make no mistake, this is not just wood particles or clay bits on the floor or in the air. These are man-made chemicals like insulation, paint, asbestos, lead, if it was an older home, all sorts of chemicals. And the winds are picking up tomorrow and the fires may spread more and this debris is going to spread more. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, what can I do? How can I help? And one of the ways that it came to me as a doctor, and specifically an eye doctor, is I want to give you guys information that helps people in the fire. But even if you're not in those fires, the winds are spreading these chemicals and particles around. And even if you're far, far away, another state even, you can learn some ideas and techniques for a future emergency or to help yourself even when you're sick. So in this episode, I'm going to go over advice for eyes, ears, nose, and throat. So I really want to empower you with this information so you don't have to be sitting with irritated eyes or throat or dryness or redness or bleeding noses. So many people live with allergies and irritation at baseline, and that's related to our diet and our food supply and gut health and inflammatory pathways in our body, which we'll get to in other episodes of the podcast. But when you have a fire, when you have noxious fumes in the air, it's too much for our systems, especially if we're already overwhelmed. Our bodies didn't evolve with these chemicals, and there's no way that scientists have studied how all these chemicals coming at once into the body at various levels for different people's bodies affect them. So it's very important to be proactive in protecting yourself and being conservative with how you approach these chemicals and irritants. So let's start with the eyes. Fire and winds and chemicals can cause a lot of irritation on the surface of the eyes, the conjunctiva and the cornea, that clear center part of the eye that you can see through. So you want a clean and smooth eye surface, especially postmenopausal woman really feels the irritation more, tends to have more dry eye because there's decreased estrogen in the system, and the glands in the eyelid respond to the female hormone. So when there's a decrease, if you're not on hormonal replacement therapy, you can really end up feeling some of that irritation from dryness, from poor tear quality. So eye drops are going to clear and clean the surface of the eye. A lot of artificial tears have methyl cellulose, which is a plant-derived product, but it's still chemically made. It's going to provide a barrier when you're out near the irritants. There's other drops too. You can try like Iganics, which has glycerin and organic materials. Glycerin is a sugar alcohol. If you are looking for something more natural, you can try that. I personally am someone who likes to minimize intervention in products, but in these situations that are so unnatural, you might need extra layers of protection that you don't usually use. So don't suffer. I recommend preservative-free eye drops because if you're going to be using them a lot, more than a couple times a day, it's better not to have preservatives because the preservatives themselves in eye drops can irritate the eyes. If you're a sensitive person, though, I would just start off just using non-preserved eye drops to begin with. Reduce that chemical load in your body. Don't be intimidated when you see the numerous ones on the market when you go to the store. Just pick a preservative-free one. I like the single-use vials, though I tend to use them a couple times instead of just once. I just put that little plastic cap back on and use it again for the next couple hours, but I don't let the vial touch my eye or lashes or skin, and I do discard them after a few hours. The lashes and your skin can also collect irritants. So it's good to use a mild soap or eye shampoo on your face, on your eyelashes, like eyelash washes. If you're in and out of the fire areas and exposed to dust and irritants and allergens throughout the day, you can also get eyelid wipes from the drugstore. Wipe your lids and lashes with those eyelid wipes, they're like single-use packets, and then you can finish off by wiping your face with the wipe. and then discarding the wipe. You can also, for zero waste solution, wipe down your eyelids with a reusable makeup remover, the little pads, and bring a jar of water to the site and wet the makeup remover. Just dip it in the water, wipe down your eyes, your lashes, your face, and then just put them in a Ziploc bag. Wash them all with your clothes in the wash when you get home. Just don't double dip your reusable wipe into the jar of water or else you're going to contaminate it. Another cause of eye irritation can be indoor heating and air conditioning that can dry up the air, especially because in these fire areas, we've got our windows closed because of air quality concerns. So be aware of that as a cause of dry, irritated eyes as a result of the sequelae of the fires. You know, you're trying to protect the inside of your home, but because you've got doing that and you're heating your home, then the air is going to get drier. So you might have eye irritation even though you're not outside. Another big thing is screens all day. I know, especially in LA, we're looking at the TV, we're looking at the cell phone, we're looking at the iPad. Other people are pointing at their iPads for us to look at. You're checking up your insurance policy, your fire insurance, seeing if there's any new updates on the Watch Duty app, checking in on friends. But what you really need to know is when you're looking at screens, you have a reduced blink rate. So the rate of blinking goes down when you're staring at a screen, and that's going to dry out your eyes more. So take breaks, use the eye drops. You can even use them preemptively if you know you're going to be on your screen for a while, and rest your eyes as needed. And look away. There's a great rule called the 20-20-20 rule, which I like to recommend, which is every 20 minutes, look at least 20 feet away for 20 seconds. And that'll give your eyes a chance to rest, relax. It'll reduce any tension that you're holding in your face, and it'll relax the ciliary muscles in your eyes as well. Blue light glasses, some people love. The data on blue light glasses being effective to reduce eye strain is not strong. I have tried them though myself, and I really notice a difference. So use them if you'd like to. Honestly, though, ultimately, if your eyes are irritated from screens, it's a sign to stop using the screens and only use it if you really need to for getting your work done and getting some emotional connection. Hopefully you have other people in your home who can also provide you with that emotional connection as well as touch that'll boost you. But if you don't, I can understand like social media and connecting with friends online can be really, really powerful, especially when you're far away because you had to move. Now let's talk about the nose and throat. So it's very, very important to know that what affects the surface of your eye also affects the inside nose area and the oral cavity as well, what we call the nasopharynx and the oropharynx too, and vice versa. Why? Because the eyes and the nasopharynx are connected by a duct called the nasolacrimal duct. Usually tears go from the eye through the duct into the nose, unless there's a blockage. And that blockage can be from a variety of reasons. The duct itself can be scarred down from previous inflammation, previous infection, or if the nasal passages are inflamed, then the duct will be blocked as well. Allergies and chemical irritation and dust being carried on the winds, and we're going to be having some high winds in the next few days is the forecast, can carry it from the eye, right? Increase the load that's in the eye into the nose. So it can just make things worse. If you're using tissues or Kleenex and people are blowing their noses because they're irritated or they just want to get the gunk out, get the irritants out, get the particles out, or if you're having a bloody nose, Kleenex, and also you're just around wood. If you're in the site where the houses have been decimated and you're looking at the lot and thinking about rebuilding, you got to know that up to 5% of the general population has a wood allergy. And that number increases if you're exposed to wood a lot, like woodworkers. So if you're noticing irritation around your nose or around your eyes with tissue use, switch to a cotton handkerchief that you wash each day because you may have a wood allergy. Not many people know about wood allergy, but it can really cause problems. So how do you reduce that load of irritants or particles on your nasal passages, which is one of the gateways to the body, from the eyes and also the nose down to the throat into the gut? Well, as I said, you could clear out your eyes with artificial tears, but also you can do saline lavage of the nasal area. It's something that's been done for thousands of years, and it will reduce the load on your body of all the irritants and make it easier for your body to have normal physiology. Now, there's very many ways to clean your nasal passages and get rid of the gunk and debris and dirt and mucus and particles that are there. A great way that I love is the neti pot. And it's what it sounds like. It's a pot. It's a small pot made of ceramic or glass or copper. And you fill it with saline solution and you use it by applying it to your nostril and letting the water flow in and letting it come out the other end. I like it because it's a gentle way to do lavage. It's a gentle way to wash that area out. Instead of, I've seen other people use these squirting methods hard up the nose with like a bulb syringe. Instead, to do this gentle lavage on the nasal passage will reduce irritation on that mucosal tissue, that tender tissue that's already irritated. So that's basic information on a neti pot for nasal lavage. There's spiritual and cultural traditions and practices that have more intricate ways of doing it, like using a copper pot. But I think for your purposes, just use what's available right now. This is a good place to start. I use a ceramic neti pot by a company called Baraka, Baraka, which uses lead-free ceramic. You can also buy plastic sinus rinse containers that you hold up to your nose and squeeze. I don't like those as much. We have those in the house, but I don't like them as much because I'm concerned about harmful effects of plastic, and I'm more on the conservative side with regard to that. And so I don't use them unless I really have to. So how do you prepare the water for your neti pot? Well, there's a variety of ways to do it. My favorite way is to boil my own. I have a pot of water, I cover it, bring it to a boil. I have it boil for 5 minutes. Then I let it cool and I use it. I pour it into a glass bottle. First, I pour a little bit in, just kind of rinse out the walls of the bottle. And then once I've poured out the rinse water, I fill it back up with the sterile water. And I keep that on the shelf for about 3 days covered. You can also buy distilled water from the supermarket and use that straight from the bottle, and you don't need to boil it or do any of that additional work. That usually comes in a very big plastic jug. As I mentioned, I don't like plastic, so I usually avoid that, especially where you don't know how the water was stored. And if any sunlight hit it, then you have microplastics in the water. So I try to avoid that. And the jug is very big, so I don't like to keep it open for more than a couple days. What ends up happening is the water gets wasted. So another way to get distilled water in smaller containers is to buy sterile CPAP water. So CPAP, CPAP water is distilled water that is used for continuous positive airway pressure machines for people who have difficulty breathing at night. I have those little bottles of CPAP water that I use in a pinch when someone gets sick suddenly and I don't have time to boil water. And they're great to have in your emergency bag for these purposes. So the next step, once you have your water, is to have the salt to put in the water to create the saline solution. So you have a couple options for this too. You can buy salt packets. Companies make them. Companies like Neil Med, other companies too. You dilute the salt packet in a certain amount of water that's listed in the instructions on the salt packet. Or you can provide your own salt. I like pure sea salt without too many minerals, unless the salt is tested for heavy metals like lead and impurities. I avoid regular table salt that has anti-clumping agents in it and iodine in it because those things can be irritating to nasal mucosa. They're not really necessary for our purposes. Baraka is a company I've tried. They make salt specifically for neti pots, and I enjoyed using their salt for my neti pot experience. I would also be open to using like Japanese pure sea salt, something that's purified. So what's the recipe for making your own? It's half a teaspoon of the salt to a cup of water. So I put the salt in the neti pot first, and then when I pour the water over it, it naturally gets agitated, and that helps the salt dissolve easier. You can mix it up a little bit and shake it up too. And you bend over your sink, or if you're outside, you just kind of bend over to the ground, and you gently lavage one nostril, blow it out gently, and then lavage or rinse out the other nostril. So the water is going to come out of the other nostril that you're not inserting the water in. So it's kind of freaky at first, weird, strange feeling, but then you get used to it and it's just washing it out. Here's a great tip that I have for you guys. Not a lot of people know this, so now you're going to be in the know with the tip that Dr. Khatibi gives you about what to do when your nose is stuffed up. And this is great for nose being stuffed up for a variety of different reasons. And if you're trying to do nasal lavage or use the neti pot and your nose is stuffed up and the water's not going up, there's a trick for clearing them. And you can also use this trick if you're sick and you just want to kind of unstuff up your nose. So what you do is you stand up, you hold your arms out straight in front of you. So your elbows are not bent, you're straight out in front. You make fists with both of your hands with your thumbs facing each other. And then you start jogging vigorously in place, getting your knees up as high as you can get them, like up to your waist level. And you do this for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes. I mean, be careful, obviously, don't overdo it. And you'll see your nasal passages are going to open up. And it's pretty miraculous. If you can't jog, if you have some limitations, then you can just hold your arms out in front of you with your elbows straight and your thumbs facing each other. And then swing your outstretched arms vigorously down towards your hips, over and over. And that should help a little as well. And then once your nasal passages are moderately unblocked, then you can do the saline neti pot lavage and get out all that gunk. Another really important thing that you guys should consider doing is the physical barrier to prevent this stuff from even getting onto your face in the first place. And in a pinch, you can use chemistry goggles or swim goggles. With regard to the nasal passages, use an N95 mask or HEPA respirator to filter out those particles so they don't get into your system. And if you don't have one, at least please wear a mask of some sort near these sites. Protect your skin with long sleeves and pants. Take a shower when you get home, including your hair, or wear something over your hair like a bouffant plastic shower cap. This is if you're very, very conservative and you're trying to make sure that none of these chemicals get into your system. And your home, especially with these fires, clear your home air with a HEPA filter. And if you have allergies and you want to get your air in tip-top shape so the mold isn't growing in your home, this is just a tip separate from the fires. You want to keep your humidity around 45%, like 40 to 45%. Let's just say 45, so the mold isn't growing in your home. And if you get a dehumidifier to dehumidify your home, get one that tells you what the percent humidity is, and you can set it at the humidity level that you want, and it'll automatically stop and restart to keep the humidity level that you set it to. So we talked about the eye, we talked about the nose, let's talk about the ear. You may be getting new ear issues as well. So if you have them, make an appointment to get it checked out. But also know your ear is connected to your oropharynx, to the mouth area, through a tube called the eustachian tube. And just like your eye drains that surface fluid in it into your nose, your ear drains its fluid into your mouth. So if there's any irritation or inflammation in the mouth oral area, it can cause irritation at the entrance of the eustachian tube, and it can cause everything to back up, making you feel like you have pressure in your ears. And certainly if you have throat issues, I'm not an ENT, but getting irritants and particles out with neti pot from your nose and also a salt water gargle in your mouth, the back of the throat, might help with any issues of irritation or cough from taking in particles through your nose. So now you see why it's good to promote health services and have good drainage. I don't think you should be neurotic about cleaning it. You don't want more tension in an already tense situation, but you want to be wise about addressing all of this stuff and just taking care of business. If you're having issues that are moderate to severe or getting worse, be sure to see a doctor. So that's the eyes and ears and nose and throat. I hope these pearls were helpful to you. I'd like to end with some relaxation and setting some intentions and visualization. It's so important to relax the mind and body and process the tension at this time, metabolize it. So let's come to our breath. You can close your eyes, get still, breathe in and out. You can make your belly big, in and out, with some belly breathing. That's helpful for relaxation. Relax your body. Relax your eyes, your nose, the back of your throat, your neck, your jaw, all these areas we talked about that are holding tension. Relax your ears, inner ears, the outer ears. And visualize your eyes being crystal clear, sharp, with a smooth, glassy surface. Your nose mucosa being pink and healthy, with a perfect layer of mucus on them. Your mouth healthy, pink, relaxed tissues in the back. Your tonsils relaxed. Your tonsils happy, if you have tonsils. And your ears, your ear canal, your eustachian tubes, all of it relaxing, happy, clean, with the fluid draining beautifully from your ear to your throat. The tissues alive, vibrant. We set the intention for that aliveness, that vibrancy, the vitality. Let my head, let my body, let my mind be healthy. Let me be strong. Let my body function and flow beautifully. And let me support it wisely so that I can help it along through any difficulties it has in this time period and set it up for success, step by step, in the days that come. I hope this information was helpful to you. Please let me know if you have any questions, send me comments. I send you so much love. I'll see you guys with each day getting better and better. Bye.